want to make this video because I think there's a lot of important things that we missed in that Trump NABJ interview. So I'm just going to show like the important parts that I think that a lot of us just missed because we focused on the hype and on the outrageous moments. So with no further ado,
we have a lot to get to and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Nobody's cheering. You see that? So if Trump really has that much support from black people, and this is an all-black conference with black journalists, why did he get almost no applause at all? I didn't hear any applause. All right, you see that? How she shook his hand and was like, Rachel Scott, ABC News. Later on, he bitches and says, oh, no hi, no good morning, no how you doing, as if she didn't greet him and introduce herself to him. But that's not the important thing, and that's just like a little side note.
I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say hello, how are you?
She just shook your hand and greeted you.
News network, a terrible network.
She shook your hand and told you her name.
How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words.
then. Would you give me a definition of
DEI.
that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So
You see that?
I've known her a long time.
You see that? He says it's a little bit different. What he's saying is he thinks that she's a DEI hire, but not that she's selected as a vice president and now as presidential candidate because she's a black woman. But she's still a DEI hire because he goes on later to say that he doesn't think she's black. So that's why he says, no, it's a little bit different. It's not because she's black, but because she's Indian and a woman.
I really don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think.
So according to him, DEI hires, as long as you're a Republican, to him, that makes you not a DEI hire.
There is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it.
So that's his main message. His main message coming there. He could have talked about anything. He could have made promises. He could have said to Black America that I'm going to do things for you. I'm going to make life better. I'm going to restore rights that have been taken. A lot of different things he could have said. He said his main message, he's telling you now that his main message is immigrants are coming across the border and they're stealing your jobs. That's his main message there. Because it's a room full of black people.
But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
Millions and millions.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million.
Right, and they're taking journalist jobs. They're coming in and they're taking journalist jobs, coming in and taking administrative jobs. Or they taking retail jobs? Or they coming in and taking electrician's jobs, clerical jobs, operation manager, huh? Are they taking police officers? Are any immigrants coming in and becoming police officers? Are they taking restaurant jobs from people? They're working as lawyers. They're working as cashier jobs in real estate. Or are they taking any of those jobs from people? They're doing all that, Donald Trump. They're working customer service. They're working HR. They're working as nurses. They're working as doctors. Is that what's happening? Whose jobs are they taking?
In credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you because of the fact that they have
he always does that. Every time that he has that tough question, he'll be like, I can't hear you, the equipment, da-da-da-da-da. He's done this before. Every time he gets put on blast, when they asked him about the Bible back some time, I should include the clip in here, but they asked us some question about the Bible. I think we reciting like a Bible verse or like any Bible verse or something. And he was like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. He always does that when he's faced with a tough question. This is what he does to buy him some time to think of something to say. Always does that.
But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually.
Yeah, sure.
But, so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it. But
I'm mad that she didn't correct him on the spot and told him the real reason why there was a delay. It was because he didn't want a live fact checker there. That's what held everything up. And they walked away, him and his supporters, believing that lie, that it was the journalists who didn't do their job right.
I'll do the.
Also, you want to know how I know this is bullshit? She's sitting right across from him, and she got a mic on. You can hear her.
Best I can with it. The inflation is anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy because of the cost of housing. Probably as much or
So what do
more
you do?
than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This
Bring
was
down
all
the cost
started
of
with a bad
energy?
energy policy.
That's how you're going to fix
Joe Biden.
inflation, by bringing the cost
By the
of
way,
energy?
Just, if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably
Now he changes the topic. He does this every time where it's got to be so easy and so good to be this guy that, you never get held accountable. You can go to any platform, and if you're asked a tough question, you can just completely change the topic and use this invite as a chance for PR to talk shit.
And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying...
Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well...
So you know about it then. See? So he knows about it. And you see how he motioned like with his hands, like as if she threw water on the cop. He's heard about this case. You can tell by the way he's talking about it, the way he's been listening to right-wing channels selling him a narrative. I don't believe that he hasn't heard about this case at all. He says himself that he didn't think it looked good. So why are you fronting like you're not familiar with it? You're just being a coward and you don't want to answer the hard questions. You said you want full police immunity. That's what you said.
Unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happened.
It depends on you.
People that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example.
Oh, here we go with Chicago. You see this? You see this?
Shootings.
This is what right-wingers always do. Well, what about Chicago? Doing the same thing. It's either Chicago or what about BLM?
And 17 deaths.
Always
Nobody
deflecting.
wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers.
You see,
have...
always sympathizing with police. In a case, you're talking about a case where a cop went out of his way to kill somebody, and he's still sympathizing with the cop. You know what happened, Donald Trump.
The respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
You
at
saw
all.
something you didn't like, and you're still showing sympathy for the cops. Like, we have to take care of cops. We have to. Why would that be your go-to if we're talking about a person that was murdered? Wouldn't you at least, even just to pander, wouldn't you say, yeah, we do have to protect our citizens? He's not saying that. He's saying we got to protect our police. That just shows you how little he cares.
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments.
That people are protected by their
If
police
I
and
felt,
their
or
police
if a group
unions.
of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly
As if
prosecuted
they're not the
because
ones doing
person
it.
did a good job,
As
maybe
if they're
with
not the
pride,
ones killing people.
or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between
But to him, it's okay when a cop does it. When a cop kills somebody in cold-blooded murder.
being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
Still sympathizing with them. He can only see himself from their perspective, from the police officer's perspective.
So I want to follow up really quickly. You know, I
ABC
find
doing any publicity. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president.
Changing the
Isn't that
topic
nice?
again.
Mr. President,
But they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory.
Not true.
And so, therefore, we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case and it got very little publicity.
You didn't win the
notice
case.
ABC
It got
George-
dismissed.
We cover you
George
extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case.
They did.
This is an attack on a
They
political
do
opponent.
nothing but cover
I have
you and give you
another
free
one.
publicity. You're just whining like a little bitch that you're not getting even more. You think these motherfuckers work for you? You think these news organizations all work for
Case,
you?
The biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where
Sir,
I
if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile.
love
He
to-
literally got a judge appointed to his case that he himself selected. If that's not conflict of interest, I don't know a single case that's that strong of a case of conflict of interest. The judge that you fucking appointed, I guess, except if it was like the defendant was the son or daughter of the judge. But this is as bad as it gets, man.
Someone who has
Talking
children
about
should have
unfair.
more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and
Bro,
many from
That's
mental
like the
institutions.
second time that he changes the subject to talk about illegal immigrants coming to the country to steal jobs. That's the second
And they
time.
want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally,
People
and
who
they're
are only
taking the
American
vote away
citizens
from
are
all
allowed
of the
to vote,
people
sir.
in this room that have been here a long time.
They don't,
that
though.
have worked hard. That in many cases, and you'll see this happen.
See, this is another thing that pisses me off about this whole thing. I don't know if it's that her mic is not loud enough or if he's just... I think he has a louder voice and he's just talking over these women. She interjects to correct him and then he keeps talking. He doesn't stop because he doesn't respect them. So he keeps talking over them in a loud voice and his lies drown out her correction. And he's doing this throughout the entire interview. He spits some lie. She corrects him. You can barely hear what she's saying because he's talking over her really loud. This is bullshit. What she should have done was kept repeating it. Kept repeating, sir, that's not happening. Sir, that's not happening. Sir, that's not happening. Sir, that's not happening. That's what she should have done.
It's hard for me
I
to
mean, it's
understand
just,
you two.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's
Whoa.
closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand,
that.
Harris,
I have a few more questions.
because of the distance and the mics are really in lousy shape. But I cannot understand
Are you
So,
asking a question?
what you're saying.
so
Go ahead.
what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic.
Now, a lot of people were making a big deal about that, about his grabbing. I mean, well, not making a big deal. They were pointing it out, and it's saying that this is like a passive aggressive thing that he did, like, well, like a sign of aggression, like he's grabbing her bottle, her water bottle, and fucking with it. That might be true, but I kind of think that it was just like a nervous reaction on his part. Just like going for a water bottle, and he didn't realize that was her water bottle. I think maybe, I don't know. It could be him like being territorial and showing signs of aggression. I don't know.
It was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the
Oh
Republican
my
Party
God,
is
what a
getting a little bit
snowflake.
too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that...
Let me guess. He's going to change the
the
subject again.
Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the
But I think it's
they're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death
right?
of a baby after the baby is born based on
Sir, that's
governor of
illegal in
Virginia.
every state in the
That's-
country.
Based on the governor of Virginia,
Executing a
they're
baby in
allowing the
every
death
state
of
in
the
the
baby.
It is wild the extent to which he is willing to lie about stuff. It is like the lie. He doesn't have a line where how ridiculous the lie can get. I'm almost like thinking if he's willing to say something like, remember guys when I won you World War II? Remember when I went to the beaches of Normandy and led up troops to fight the Nazis? Remember when I did that? It's like where's the line where you're not going to cross to lie about something?
After it's born, they're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month. of
Well, Democrats
pregnancy.
have denied.
I think they're right. And I think
Look,
the
he keeps saying it
Republican Party is
again.
actually much lesser. I think
She
may have
corrected
much
him,
less
and he
radical,
keeps saying it
perhaps,
again.
but the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion brought back.
So now
They didn't want
what
Roe
she
v.
should have
Wade
done
in the
is like,
federal government.
sir, you don't really believe that, do you? She should have kept pressing him on that, because that's a wild, outrageous thing to say, that you can't just halt it by saying, sir, that's not happening. Killing babies is basically illegal, which is what he's saying. He's saying that Democrats are killing babies. This is how wild the shit that he's saying is. And she's just saying, sir, that's not happening. That's illegal. She should be approach him and tell him, sir, you don't really believe that's happening, do you? And what is your evidence for that? And just press him. They can't let him get away with lying that crazy, with saying a lie that is that untrue and keep saying it over and over and over and over every chance you get. That's bullshit.
Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He shot. But most people,
Would you consider?
most people, I know many people in their
Yeah.
80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's the only question that he answered throughout the whole interview directly. Like the only yes or no question that he actually answered.
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman...
He's still bitching. He's still crying like a little crybaby, bro, like a little snowflake. What a bitch, bro. You care so much. You're feeling so fragile, bro. Crybaby, bitch. Snowflake.
She was very rude, sir.
Oh, she was so rude to me. My feelings. What a soy. What a bitch. What a bitch beta. What a pussy, bro.
That was a nasty...
What a little fragile little man, bro. What a...
She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would.
What a
You would.
weak dude, bro. How do Republicans, how do MAGA people look at this guy that's so weak and so emotional? She hit him with hard questions and he couldn't take it. He's not used to this. He's not used to being asked tough questions. So he keeps harping on it. Oh, they were so rude to me. Oh, she was so mean. She hurt my feelings. She was attacking me. She was prosecuting me. This kind of shit feels to him like he's being nailed to a cross. Just being asked tough questions, which is supposed to be something that happens to every politician, regardless of their party, but he can't take it. He always has to resort to attacking them. What a fragile bitch. And I'm so disappointed, for one, that they took it so easy on him. Second, that he got so aggressive and nobody checked him. Nobody stood up for that lady. They let him berate her and talk shit to her, and she just had to sit there apparently and just take it and be professional. You're the candidate for the presidency. She is the one that it will be okay for to talk shit. You're not. There's no way that you should be talking to her like that. You are supposed to be the peak of professionalism running for president, and you're talking shit to her like that. There should have been way more outrage about this shit. But this is how we're normalizing this whole bullshit MAGA shit, that all these politicians, if they get asked hard questions, they start attacking the reporters. This is the least that can happen to them, for reporters to ask them tough questions. Some of these politicians being so corrupt, and even that is just too much to ask from them. It's like they know they're wrong. In almost all of these cases, is acting. They're acting outrage so that the reporter can back off, so that the reporter can get scared and back down. They're not really upset. They're not really mad that the reporter is asking them these questions. They know that that's their job. They're acting defensive like that so that the reporter can get intimidated. We can't let them do that. So to all of you reporters, you got to get some backbone into you. You got to stop like feeling like that you got to be a professional pushover, man. That's not the job of journalists. I don't think this was a win for either Trump or the NABJ. I do think that they fucked up. I think they should have approached this a lot different. The first lady, she did a good job by bringing up that first question was fire, man. That was good. But then it's like the rest of the shit just went downhill from there. He kept sidetracking them, derailed the whole interview by just speaking over them, changing the subject at will. He's just using this for PR, just showing off his base likes this. They like them. They like when he berates women, when he yells at them, when he talks shit. They love this kind of shit. It's not a win for him because he looks like an asshole, but this is one thing that I will say. I think at the very least, it didn't necessarily make him look good, but at least it served as a distraction. For a few days after that, now everybody's talking about him suggesting that Kamala Harris isn't black. Now that has to become the topic. So it served as a distraction, him doing that, because now everybody's, they might not be talking about the question might not be, is Kamala Harris black? But the big talk is him implying that she's not black. And then that creates discussions on Twitter and stuff like that, I think this was very calculated. It obviously was. I think his campaign people, I think they get this from people they probably see on Twitter, like these like Tariq Nasheed people and quote unquote hoteps or whatever, that be claiming that people from other countries aren't black, you know what I'm saying? That Jamaicans aren't black, Cubans aren't black, nobody's black, just black Americans. Okay, he's racist, and then what? That's not going to convince anybody. That's not going to make anybody realize how much of an asshole he is. The response to him doing that should be, look at this guy. He's trying to divide and conquer. He's trying to turn everybody against each other. How is this guy a man of the people when he's trying to turn the people all against each other? That should be the response. The topic that we should all be talking about, that should be on the table, that we should all be talking about nonstop is, one, how Donald Trump is trying to turn everybody against each other. And second, how he's trying to give police complete immunity to be able to kill black unarmed people. That's what he's trying to do. And we need to talk about that nonstop all the way to the election. I don't think a lot of his supporters are really, it has really sunk in for them. This guy wants to kill people with drug offenses. He wants to give them the death penalty. He wants to give police complete immunity. And there are cop gangs that literally want to go out and kill people with complete immunity. And Donald Trump is willing to give them complete immunity. Come on, people, man. This is really fucking serious, man. This is not no, I don't have anything monetary to gain by telling you this. What do I get out of this except me in the future not being subject to a rogue cop who can kill me and get away with it? This is not like, oh, I'm trying to win. Oh, this is a culture war. This is serious shit, people. We gotta wake the fuck up and start telling the truth. I'm telling you, man, a lot of you people are gonna fucking regret it, man, when it happens.